Thank you, Micah. New York Best is delighted to be a partner in this event, in the age of smart intelligent energy storage. And intelligent energy storage is going to be an incredibly important player on the future electricity grid. It's going to solve and is starting to solve many of the problems that are associated with our electricity grid. We have a number of issues with the grid that are solvable and tractable by adding intelligence and adding storage together. You probably have heard of the, out in California, a lot of talk has been given to the California duck curve that shows that the load profile over time and the particular peaks that are being created by the integration of renewables on the grid and the need to be able to time shift energy. Here in New York, we actually have a curve that has a similarly compelling message for the need for energy storage, and that curve is the curve of load duration, a number of hours per year. We're at a particular load point on the grid. And this doesn't look like a duck. To me, it looks a little like a blue heron. It's something with a very, very long neck. But it has a very sharp peak on the one side of it. And that peak is the fact that we have very, very short duration, a few hours a year, that we have very, very high need and load in New York City and in New York State. So in New York City, for instance, we have a peak a little over 13 gigawatts. Last year, we were over 13 gigawatts for 7 hours a year. We were over 12 gigawatts for only 29 hours a year. So think about what that means. For 29 hours a year, we had to have a gigawatt of capacity, we had to have a gigawatt of transmission, a gigawatt of distribution, all for just a little over a day of total time. That's incredibly inefficient. But it's, of course, we were designed the grid for peak capacity. Intelligent energy storage can solve this, and it can solve it in a way that creates other benefits. So when you put intelligent energy storage on the grid to start to address those capacity needs, hey, by the way, you're not just solving that 29 hours, you're solving all kinds of other challenges that are associated with the grid. You can time shift for night to day. You can solve peaks at other times. You can do frequency regulation. You can do ancillary services. You can do all kinds of other benefits with that device, as opposed to just having a device idle for only 29 hours a year. So intelligent energy storage is a very, very important topic. We've got an excellent panel for you today to talk about it. Here in New York, I think a couple of very, very important things are occurring right now. You heard Micah talk about a few of them just now. With regard to capacity needs, Con Ed has a wonderful program that's being launched right now to address capacity needs in New York City area, and that's a joint Con Ed and NYSERDA program that you'll hear a little bit about tonight. The other needs beyond just capacity of making the grid more resilient post-Hurricane Sandy, other things that we need to do to make the grid more resilient and to make the grid more efficient. Micah talked a little bit about the new initiative that New York State is undertaking called REV, which is Reforming Energy Vision. This is an initiative by the Public Service Commission and the Governor's Office that is driving for a much, much smarter, much more integrated, much more dynamic grid that really uses the edge of the grid as the foundation, as opposed to central generation as the foundation. Now, that's a really big change. It's going to take a long time to get this through. They started the proceedings on Monday. There was quite a mob scene at the proceedings in Albany on Monday to do that, but they're starting down the right track. We had a call this morning to start to further that process over the next year. The designs for this are going to be created, and we're going to have a straw man out in the end of the summer and processes to start to have a whole new look at how the grid functions in New York State. And New York State is unique in its ability to do this. Only a few states in the country actually have really control of their own electricity infrastructure. Most states have spread the ISOs for the states serve a number of states. Here we have the ability to make these changes and to really take a major step forward in how the grid is architected.